Before I start the video today, I want all of you to watch the entirety of this video. There was a gentleman named Daniel who watches the show. He's a subscriber, a listener, and he saw me in the parking lot filming, and he came up to me, and he actually came on the show as a guest and made some really great points about growing food, preparations, the spiritual awakeness that you're going to need to survive what is coming, and just made some really great points about where we are as a nation and what all of us can be doing for ourselves and our families. So I want you to stay tuned, watch this video. Again, it was an honor, a privilege to meet Daniel today, coming on the show, making some great points. And he just reinforced with me that I'm not alone, you're not alone. There are a lot of people like you and I, like-minded, doing the same thing, thinking the same thing, preparing for the same thing. We're not alone, ladies and gentlemen, so stay tuned. It's a beautiful, warm, sunny Friday afternoon, October 14, 2022. Just running some errands today. And while I was driving past some of the car lots, and I just wanted to film some of the car lots because I don't know about you, but I'm beginning to see more inventory piling up. And this is the Lexus lot here in Cathedral City, California. And there are new cars here, new Lexus, used Mercedes on the lot. And we're beginning to see the lots fill up with more and more inventory. Now, they're not stacked to capacity, but you get the idea. There are cars rolling in. A lot of used cars. There are some new cars. A lot of used cars. So I see a lot of I see Challengers, Chargers. I see a lot of Hondas over here. Got a Corvette right here. New C8 or newer C8 right here. Range Rovers. So you can see that at least at the Lexus dealership in Cathedral City, they have a nice variety of used cars for sale. And I will say there is not one person on the car lot, and it is a beautiful Friday afternoon, October 14, 2022, and there is nobody at the Lexus car lot here walking around kicking tires. So pretty shocking. It's under 100 degrees today finally, and you can see the inventory piling up. And so that brings the question, where are the buyers going to come from now that interest rates are going up, the rate to borrow money to finance a car is going up, and you know, they're carrying some very nice cars here. A lot of cars on this lot are over $50,000, well into $100,000. These Range Rovers, the big L Series Lexus, the F-Types, the Corvettes are probably running pretty close to 100,000, I would assume. But look, there's definitely a lot of cars here, and you got salespeople just hanging out, waiting for somebody to show up. And you got a lot of cars. The economy's changing, and it's going to get much more difficult if you're in sales, especially if you're linked to anything in real estate. You're going to have a very difficult time. If you're in the mortgage industry, lending industry, construction industry, real estate sales, it's going to be very difficult as we get closer and closer into 2023. I think 2023 will be a bloodbath in the auto industry, in auto sales, and in the real estate housing market. Going to be a bloodbath. So just walking up the street here, you got a GM dealership, and again, not stacked bumper to bumper, but there are vehicles available, and a lot of used vehicles, and used vehicle prices now down 13.5% from their highs. And again, the question is, what are they going to do with all these used cars, and what happens when the new cars become available? As I'm making this video, markets just closed. Dow Jones down over 400 points today. NASDAQ down over 300 points. A lot of investors think that we've hit the bottom. We're not anywhere near the bottom. So we've got newer Cadillacs here, used Cadillacs. You got the Chevy dealership next door. And you can see there's a decent amount of cars on the lot. And if you've noticed, nobody is walking the lots this Friday afternoon, October 14, 2022. Nobody out kicking tires, and it's actually a pretty nice day. We're finally under 100 degrees and nobody's out here. These places are dead. And how in the world do these places remain open when they're not selling cars? When people aren't out here looking? And we know they're not looking because they're out of money. And with the rate now to finance a car, people just cannot do it. When the cheap money has dried up, so have the buyers. So over here at the Chevy dealership, got a pretty decent amount of cars over here. So you've got definitely a decent amount of especially used cars. Across the street, there is a Toyota dealership a couple blocks down the road there. And it's got a lot of brand new Camrys, a lot of used cars there also. So we're going to see more and more inventory pile up, just like you are at Walmart, just like you are at Kohl's, just like you are at Target. And of course, you're going to see more and more home inventory pile up, just like car inventory pile up. Now the question is, who's going to buy all these retail goods? Who's going to buy the cars? Who's going to buy the houses? And we know that people love spending money, and they're trying to spend whatever money they have. The problem that they're going to run into, the dead end that they're all going to run into, or shall I say many, is one of two things. They lose a job, it's game over, or they hit the credit card limit and it's game over, and they will be forced to no longer be able to spend money because they will have no money to spend. That's the wall that many people are going to run into, because most people will just spend no matter how bad it is. They will continue to spend. They have absolutely no control. They will not give in. They're going to go out with a bang. They don't care, and they're gonna meet one of two ends here, and it's going to be a job loss, or the credit card limit is tapped out, and it's going to be the end game for those people. And unfortunately, that's going to be a lot of people, because again, they just cannot control themselves. So as I'm driving down the 111, and I wish I had more time today, there are so many businesses that have closed up, so many buildings that are vacant, but here's a couple that I pulled over. This was I don't know if it was a consignment shop or a high-end consignment shop or a high-end furniture shop right off 111 here in Rancho Mirage. This one is gone. You've got 111 right there. Right across the street, there is an available sign for that one. Right over there, that whole strip center there is completely vacant. That was in a couple of my past videos, so that is all gone. And then as we walk down here, there was a large furniture store, Moore's, M-O-R. Many of you probably know this chain. I think they're closing all of them in our area here. But this building here is completely closed. It is now empty. So this recently closed down, probably within the past 30 days. And walk up here, locked up. So another retailer bites the bullet, gone. And again, look across the street, that is all dead. So Moore's is closed. The furniture store next door has closed. And again, I wish I had more time today to share the amount of vacancies in my area. But you see the cars piling up, you see the vacancies piling up. Now, yesterday we saw the market explode. I can't explain the market voodoo that took place yesterday. If you can, please share it in the comments down below. where we had that 800-point day on the Dow. Today, gave back some of the gains. Again, a lot of people, a lot of investors think that we're at the bottom. We're not even close to the bottom, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, because without capitulation from the Fed, there is no bottom. Without the Fed coming in, printing money, raising rates, there is no bottom. And when you watch what's happening in these markets, one thing that really concerns me is what is going to happen to pensions. These pensions rely on a 7% return in these markets. These markets are getting massacred. And so we're going to see casualties in the pension system. These pensions are bleeding, and most of them were already unfunded in the good times. So we're going to see big problems there. And with everything happening, ladies and gentlemen, do not be a hypocrite. There's too many people out there. We have so many hypocrites, so many people with all the answers, so many people that pretend to walk the walk, pretend to know what to do, pretend to be preparing, and they're not. Do not be a hypocrite now. So many people will tell you, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Those same people are doing absolutely nothing. And we're going to find out when all this comes crashing down who the hypocrites were and how well the hypocrites survive during this economic collapse. Again, I see so many people talking the big talk, walking the big walk, but they're all fake. They're hypocrites. To have all the answers, to tell people what to do, and yet these people have done absolutely nothing except tell other people what to do. And they will be the same people knocking at your door for help. It will be the hypocrites coming to your house, asking you for security, asking you for money, asking you for food, asking you for shelter. It's going to be these same people coming to you for help, the hypocrites. And I'll tell you, I don't like hypocrites. I don't like narcissists. And with the amount of desperation out there, the amount of people out there looking for answers, looking for help, we're seeing more of this fakeism coming out on the news, on the television, on videos, you name it. So be very cautious of all the fakeism and hypocrites and narcissists out there just trying, begging for attention. Another article I want to share today coming from The Hedge. Real U.S. retail sales tumble. They keep telling us about the strong consumer. Store retailers saw sales tumble last month, 2.5%. So where is the strong consumer? Why are we still seeing retailers shut down? We're seeing restaurants shut down. We're seeing retail business slow down. So where is the strong consumer? We hear that, oh, the consumer has $1 trillion in their savings account and they're going to spend it. The average consumer, ladies and gentlemen, is already broke. Here's another one from The Hedge. The era of cheap food and cheap gasoline is over. A majority of the U.S. population right now has no idea what is coming. Gas prices right here in my state, we break it down to county. LA County, average gas price, $6.46. Orange County, $6.42. Riverside County, where I'm at right now, here in the Rancho Mirage area, $6.33 a gallon. San Bernardino, $6.33. That's the average gas price in California. And wherever you're at, you know that gasoline prices are surging, not just in California, but we have the worst here. Natural gas is skyrocketing. We're shipping a lot of it over to Europe because of the Ukraine situation. And so now prices are going to the stratosphere right here in the US because we're sending so much of our supply over to Ukraine. Fertilizer shortage, pushing food prices way up. People have had this artificially inflated lifestyle and they've enjoyed it for the past decade. And now the pain is about to come and many people are beginning to feel the pain, but it's just the beginning of the pain. Again, they've enjoyed all the free money. They've enjoyed 0% interest rates. They've enjoyed sub 3% mortgage rates. They've enjoyed all this free helicopter money, the trillions and trillions of dollars that allowed the stock market to go to the moon, and people capitalized on it. They enjoyed all the easy crypto money, the NFT money. Everything was going up, from a wristwatch to a stock to a crypto to an NFT. Everything was going up. That is all now changing, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not awake, if you're not critically thinking, if you're not doing your homework, if you're not paying attention, you could literally be wiped out. So things are changing drastically and accelerating at a record pace, and everybody now really has to be paying attention. You know, it blows my mind how people pay attention so closely to sports, to Hollywood, to Netflix, you name it. But when it comes down to the reality of life, the economy, people are oblivious. And this is so important because your pension's going to be wiped out, your businesses, your jobs, everything absolutely getting decimated. So be very, very cautious. So I just ran into Daniel. I was going to grab a little In-N-Out right here. And Daniel walked up to me. Pleasure, Daniel. So tell us what you do.
So I'm an edible landscaper here in the Coachella Valley. I help people plant fruit trees, build raised beds, help them start a garden from scratch. And I'm also organic, so I use no pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, miticides, no synthetic fertilizers. Everything is natural, good for the planet, good for you, and just good all around.
So what are you seeing with the clientele, say from 2019 or 2020 to where we're at today? What are you seeing?
So definitely on things that not edible related, people are pulling back as far as spending their money. During COVID, people were throwing in pools. They were wanting to do all types of redos in their house for landscape. Now they're definitely they're throwing money, no problem. Weren't even questioning a bid.
So pools, outdoor patios, outdoor kitchens, things like that.
Correct. Yep. And now definitely people they're questioning when you send them the bid. Well, what's this? Well, what's that? Is there any way we can bring it down a little bit more? Definitely not being as aggressive with their money as they once were. What
would you say the numbers are at compared to 2 years ago as far as like the outdoor, the pools, the patios, all that? Are we down 10%, 20%, 50%? What ballpark?
Percentage-wise, I don't know if I give that to you because I don't have the data in front of me, but definitely I can see a
noticeable.
difference.
Noticeable.
Yeah,
so at least 20% plus.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you see, Daniel, where do you see things going in the next 12 months for the U.S. Financially?
I think we're in trouble. We just went and printed tons of money, and the money just didn't appear from nowhere. We're looking at some dark times, unfortunately.
What are you doing to adapt to this?
So I have a food forest at my house. I have raised beds. We try to grow as much food as we can, be self-sustaining in the city as possible. We don't have a ton of acreage. We got about 1/4 of an acre, but I just continue to plant as much stuff as I can every day. So,
and you bring something up, food. What is your thoughts on the food crisis, the drought? 40 million chickens euthanized this past year because of the bird flu. Lots of cattle that died of the drought, and a lot of cattle being sold off early now because the ranchers can't afford to feed them. How bad can the food crisis get, in your opinion?
I believe it's going to get really bad. I believe what we're seeing is going to be of biblical proportions. I do believe we're in the end times. Jesus is going to return soon, but before that time period, things are going to get real difficult. Yeah, we have the drought in California. We have I have chickens. We have the bird flu that's going around. They have all these industrial meat packing facilities that have somehow burned to the ground.
Right. A lot of food processing plants.
Right. We have all these dominoes that have slowly been set up, and they're now about to start falling.
And we really won't even see the effects till beginning next year, into 2024, even 2025. Right now, we're not going to see those effects. It's a kind of a delayed process.
Correct.
So we have enough beef. We may have enough fruit and vegetables and grain right now, but what's happening in Eastern Europe, what's happening here, we're going to begin to see the result of that next year. So what about your clients? What are they saying anything? Like, are they saying, are they concerned? I mean, we know they're cutting back, but has anybody said, wow, I cannot believe what is happening?
Yeah, it's a lot of talk, and that's what usually people do until they start seeing the shelves at the supermarket starting to be bare.
Yeah.
Will they start to react to it?
Yeah. But then it's too late.
Exactly. And so that's why for myself and for my friends and for my family and for my clients that I know real well, I try to express to them, you need to start growing some more food now so you're prepared, because I can't feed everybody.
Right. Now, for the people out there, such as myself right now living in the desert, we don't have any land. So for me, it's stock up on canned food, bottled water, water filtration, emergency food, rice and beans, things of that nature. So to the people out there that can't grow, now I'm trying to get to Alabama, buy a farm, and do all that. But in the meantime, you know, and it's very hard to grow out here when it's 120 degrees too. But for the person out there that cannot raise food, they may live in an apartment, a condo, don't have a yard, any advice?
So there's microgreens. You can set up a system inside of your home just on like metal shelving. You can grow from seed to harvest in as little as 7 days. If that's an absolute must-have, you could do, or you can do sprouts, which are easy. You can do.
Now,
inside.
How much food would they be able to grow? Would they have a month's worth of food?
So if you're doing it rapid pace, you can probably do it enough to sustain your family. If you know an average family of 4 or something of that nature, or tap into your friends and family that do have a yard. Start doing edible landscapes.
Right, and add things to that, right? Like
Correct.
You can add the canned food, you can add the rice and beans to the greens.
I've got rice and beans. I've got canned food. I've got 270-gallon IBC totes filled with water that I can filter out if need be. I do drip irrigation at my house. Also, a great plant for the desert is called moringa. Has more vitamin C than oranges, has more vitamin D than milk, has 8 of the 9 essential amino acids. Will go from literally a small seedling to full size within a year.
Wow, it's incredible. What do your friends say right now? Do you see that they're like-minded, or have you noticed that they're still in a coma?
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah.
I've been nagging everybody for the last few years, like, get ready, because it's coming down to the wire.
Let me ask you this. You know, I was talking earlier in the video about hypocrites. A lot of people with all the answers. People walk around, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You need to do this, you need to do that. And it's these same people that do nothing. And to me, it's going to be the same hypocrites that come knocking at the door for food, for protection, for shelter, for help. What do you say to those people out there? I mean, like, what about, you know, we all have family members, we all have friends that are walking in a coma, not listening, and the day of reckoning is getting very, very close. And there's going to be a knock at the door, multiple knocks at the door. What do you say to those people who want to come knocking at the door? Because I only have so much food, and when you're eating my food, that means you're taking calories away from me and my family. That means that, you know, now there's a liability when there's more people with me. Now you have to protect more people. Now you have to shelter more people, drain more energy, drain more calories, drain more resources. What do you say? What happens when that knock at the door happens? Have you thought about that?
I have. There's a part of me that wants to tell them to go fly a kite, and I tried to warn you.
Yeah.
But then I think of, well, how would Jesus treat them? And if Jesus can multiply the fish and the loaves,
right? But he said, "I'll teach you how to fish."
He did, and a man that doesn't work shouldn't eat.
Right, and these people aren't working.
I agree.
And Noah built an ark, and God closed the door of the ark too.
I agree.
And he gave everybody a warning. Built that ark for 100 years, and people laughed and joked and ridiculed. And then the day of reckoning came. And I don't want to see that happen to people, because we can see now what is happening. And I was just driving around, filming some of the vacancies. I mean, it seems like, you know, every day I drive down the 111 or through the desert, I see another vacant building. And what does that mean for the city financially? Who's holding the note on those buildings? What about the business owner that's not getting any revenue on that office building or that retail space, or the retailer who's now out of business, who owns a house, who employed people like Dickie's Barbecue over here, which I can't even believe that they still exist, but you know, they're on borrowed time, like so many places out here. I mean, you can see on the writing on the wall right now, and people are still oblivious, delusional, ignoring the warning signs. And any advice today that you can give to people who just don't, like, maybe they just don't want to see it. They just ignore it. There's no way you cannot see what's happening. Look at the market today, absolutely hammered again. People's pensions are in jeopardy. Their 401ks are getting absolutely wiped out right now. Yet they're driving around $7 for super unleaded, $6.40 for regular. How are they doing it?
Credit. I believe a lot of people are living off credit.
Yeah.
And in this next year, exactly the beginning of this year, we're going to see, as they say, the chickens come home to roost.
Right. I said there's two things that'll happen, or one of two things. Somebody's going to lose a job, or the credit limit gets hit, and it's game over for many of these people. And at that point, now they come knocking at your door. I mean, so, you know, we don't want people knocking at our door. We're trying to warn people right now to get ready, get your preparations in order, because I can't give you my food. I can't give you my time. I can't give you my security, but I can give you some of my advice right now from what I see. I can see what everybody else is seeing, but I'm not ignoring it.
Proverbs says, for a wise and prudent man foresees danger and makes preparation. So maybe you're skeptical. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe your friend has been telling you, or your family member has been saying something to you. Do a little bit of your own independent research without your biased opinion.
Right.
Go look at things for what they are and realize that we are about to enter into a dark winter, as somebody in position once said.
A time of extreme uncertainty, and yeah, it's just, well, it's, you know, it's always a pleasure to meet people like you. And, you know, I've got to say something. You know, a lot of people out there, Daniel, think that they're alone, that they're the only ones thinking like this, that they can't even believe what they're witnessing take place. You know, market volatility, job losses, $7 a gallon gasoline, credit cards exploding, debt exploding. 20 million households in America can't pay their utility bills. I've never heard of anything in my entire life. This is the United States of America. And there's just so many. We had a closed economy for over a year. There's just so much going on. And people just go, I cannot believe it. But then they think they're the only ones witnessing this, that they're the only ones that believe what is happening. They're not alone, right?
Not alone.
There's people like you. There's people like me.
There's a lot of
and
us
you just
out
walked
there.
up to me. So here's just more reinforcement to everybody out there. 50, 60, 70,000 people that watch this video this weekend. Here's some reinforcement. Daniel, he walked up to me. We are not alone, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a lot of us out there. I'm considered a millennial at the very end of the spectrum, and a lot of my age group thinks it's crazy a little bit. They respect the side of it that is taking care of the planet, but they don't understand the preparation. I want to be self-sustaining. I want to be good ecologically to the planet, but also taking care of my family. I don't want because we all know, look at what happened during Katrina. The government, you don't want, the worst thing you can ever hear is I'm with the government and I'm here to help.
That's right.
That doesn't go together.
Right.
So, you know, you want to take care of your family. You don't want to be dependent upon somebody else and then them telling you what you have to do in order to be able to get that water or get that food.
Yep.
And
then you are a slave to the system at that point.
Exactly.
And it's almost like, you know, now it's like, now everybody's waiting for another stimulus check. Everybody's waiting for the Fed to bail out Wall Street. Everybody's waiting for some type of help. But you got to help yourself right now.
Exactly. And you know, this is an interesting fact that I found out during the Great Depression, there were home invasions. When we do believe this is going to be bigger than the Great Depression, which happened back then, and the decorum of people now is so much worse than it was back then, the things that we're going to see are going to be horrible. What
you see, the violent crime that you're seeing now, just literally to steal a pack of cigarettes or a candy bar from you, people have they have no issue taking human life for just entertainment, literally, just for entertainment, knocking people to the ground, beating them for laughs and entertainment. So imagine what they're going to do, Daniel, when they're hungry.
Yep. When they can't feed their children, and they're going to take from your children to feed their children.
Yep.
So, you know, be prepared. It doesn't necessarily have to be a firearm. You know, you can get bear mace. You can do other things to prepare. But you need to take a look at it separate from your bias.
Yeah, doing nothing is going to guarantee that you become a statistic.
Exactly.
You know where I stand with all that. I think all of you should be extremely, extremely trained in tactics and know how to use your tool efficiently and proficiently. But you got to do something. If you do nothing, you're going to just be a statistic to what is happening right now. And you got to exercise situational awareness. You got to know where you're at. So many people, Daniel, on their phones, walking around like zombies, and they are prime victims, just with their head down, especially women and young girls walking around completely glued and brainwashed to the screen on their phone. And that is a really bad recipe for disaster right there. You gotta know your environment.
Everybody thinks it can't happen to them.
Till it does.
You know, till it does. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Exactly. Situational awareness. Whenever you walk into a place, who's in there? Is somebody acting strange? And if you're going to your car, is there somebody following me? You know, we live in a pretty safe place. Yeah. But when people start heading out of the city, when chaos erupts, they're going to look for resources.
Right. Yeah, those are all great points. And, you know, we already know what's happening. I can tell you just from being connected to law enforcement out here that there's a lot of things you don't hear about. And it's not as safe as many people think. It is beautiful here, especially in Rancho Mirage. But you can go to Beverly Hills, Westwood, Santa Barbara, wherever. This is where the crime's going now. They understand that they're going to go where the money is. So that's why we've seen such an uptick out here. Why Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Malibu have all seen huge upticks. All Westwood, all those areas, Century City. I've all seen a huge increase in crime because they're going to go where the money is. They're going to go where they can get stuff. And these are the type of areas. And typically the people in these type of areas are the most asleep and the most unaware of their environments. So I'm going to let Daniel wrap it up. All great points. Daniel, anything you want to say to wrap it up before you go?
It's awesome running into you.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Fantastic.
Great. Yeah, it's. I believe it was a divine appointment. You know, if you don't know the Lord, I'd say have a conversation with him today, because when it gets dark, you're going to need him. Fantastic
advice. I couldn't say it better. Everything happens for a reason. So Daniel and I met today, obviously for a reason. So I totally believe that. But great point. Walk close. The most inexpensive thing that costs absolutely zero and the most powerful thing there is walking close to God. Costs nothing but a little bit of your time, but you're going to need God for strength and direction. No matter how well trained you are, no matter how much money you have, how much gold and silver, how much food preparation you have, if you don't have God in this, if you really believe that we're heading into dark times, this is no doubt spiritual warfare, then you better have God on your side, because it's about to get very, very dark. God bless, Daniel.
God bless you, brother.